Hello and welcome back to the video on Respect and to NXT Battleground out of 10. A big show today. This is the first time the TNE World Championship was on the line during NXT PLA, and could Trick Williams take the title from Joe Hendry. And we got other big matches as well, including Stephanie Valker putting the Women's Championship on the line against Jordan Grace. But we started things off with the Women's North American Championship match. Sol Rooker defending against Kalani Jordan, and Jordan had Rooker's number at multiple points in this match, but Zarya saved the Women's North American Champion from a split-leg moonsault when it mattered most. When Zarya was sent back for her action as Rooker regained momentum and caught Jordan with a unique top-rope version of the Stomp Thatcher for the win. This was far too early in Rooker's title reign for her to lose. The result was predictable, however that wasn't the point. No one could bring the best out of Rooker quite like Jordan. While the North American champion still figuring out how she looked like one of the best pure athletes in WWE throughout. It was easily the best match of her career. The back and forth was on point, and yeah, the face-heel dynamic was messy here as Jordan never really played up to the commentary comments about her new killer character. Zarya was the only real heel in this situation by cheating to out Rooker. This could set up a role match between the two where Jordan embraces the heel role or leads to tensions between her and Zarya. The possibilities will make up for the match feeling a bit weak on story, though this was never really the reason for these two to be paired up. This is about the spectacle, which was excellent, and I thought, yeah, a brilliant way to kick off the show. I'll give it an 8 out of 10. Shawn Spears, Brooks Jensen and Nico Vance then took on Hank, Tank and Josh Briggs, and yeah, the heels had the edge in this match due to their team's experience, but there was a pure impact of the champions and Josh Briggs that was the final decider. Jensen took a clothesline from Hell and Honk to seal the victory. Afterwards, the cutting laid out the chance until Briggs and Imamura took a steel chair away from Damon and helped clear the ring. If there was one match on the card that didn't belong here, it was definitely this one. On a night of basic championship action, it made sense to have a tag title match. Beyond this, the surprising Imamura appearance after the match, none of this action proved like wrong. The match was fine, but easily forgettable with a few mistakes. The cutting ends up looking worse coming out of this, and yeah, it just felt unnecessary on a big PLE. So yeah, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 10, unfortunately. But moving on then to the next match, which was Tony D against Stacks, and after a heated stretch of dominance from Tony D, the Don hesitated to finish the job, allowing Stacks to keep fighting. After a long fight, D'Angelo planted Starks with an elevated spine buster, only for Luca to arrive as a distraction. He earned the boss's low load, and the Don hit the cement shoes for the victory. Afterwards, Crucifino tried to hit the Don, but he wouldn't let him, clearly not trusting him anymore. When you worked and teamed with a wrestler for years, you build chemistry, and the chemistry is obvious throughout this match. A physical battle that used the environment outside the ring to sell the hatred. However, even with the chemistry of both men, the pacing was off. It went too long and played out too many dramatic beats. D'Angelo's hesitation, the multiple finishes, and Crucifino's return all sold as if it could be the end of the rivalry, not the first big match for a likely series. While Stacks has massively improved in the last couple of years, it was obvious how much better D'Angelo was throughout the match. Stacks was surviving this battle rather than out-wrestling the Don. If D'Angelo is headed to the main roster, he will likely lose the rivalry by its close, but then putting everything on Stacks' shoulder and carrying the family. In this match, he still looks second in command, even if his presentation is improving. So yeah, I think definitely issues with this, but on the whole, most part, it was a pretty fun contest. 6 out of 10 from me. Stephanie Valker and Jordan Grace then went to war, and it took everything for them from Aria's Arsenal to seal the win. She pulled it out after the spiral tap. The strongest aspect of the NXT roster is the women's division. It may end up looking like a big mistake not to end the show with Valker v Grace. This was technically clean in a way that highlighted how good both of these women are. They flowed throughout their spots while selling the emotion of this moment. The Juggernaut knew that the Primera was the favourite and leaned heel in the moments for this epic battle for the women's championship. The ramp up to the spiral tap sold it as Valker's finally weapon against a worthy adversary, making it clear the result on this night may not be the same in the future. It should be interesting to see what the Juggernaut does going here, because yeah, she needs to pick up a big win, but I really enjoyed this match for what it was. 8 out of 10 from me. Backstage, Ava interrupted All Ego to advise that he would open a show in his North American Championship challenge against Ricky Saints, and the winner would defend the gold at Worlds Collide. The Revolution then got an in-ring interview with Sarah Scriber, who promised to beat Paige on Tuesday and stand as an ambassador for NXT at Worlds Collide. All Ego then tried to sneak attack Saints, but he sent him outside the ring and dived onto him and security. As a hype segment, this is good business all round. Saints cut a solid promo and then showed off just a bit of what he might do to retain against Paige on Tuesday. It was odd though having this in a pay-per-view. Saints v Paige feels predictable, but I think it's more probably about teasing the Worlds Collide show. We then got Oba Femi versus Mars One, and Femi dominated in the early stages, but Noten QCC stayed strong and found technical openings to wear down the champ. The ruler was never outmatched, but Bourne kept him on his toes. After the challenger kicked out of the first fall from Grace, Oba hit 2 more to seal the win. Oba has worked most of his matches in NXT in a fast-paced, high Impact. So this was paced much more like a typical main event clash. The slow pace steadily built, allowing Bourne to play the crowd favourite by increasing the speed of the action. Each near fall was an escalation on the last till the crowd felt alive for every move. It was not a highlight reel performance, but I think Bourne definitely rose to the occasion. The end goal was to sell him as a breakout star, and that's exactly what he did. And maybe his spell with the North Ring title could do him good, but I thought this worked really well while keeping Femi looking great as champ. 7 out of 10. And in our main event, Trick Williams felt the match falling away from him after Joe Hendry kicked out the Trick shot, so he brought the TNA World title into the ring. When the ref tried to get it out quickly, Trick planted Hendry on the championship in the ring and followed by a Trick shot for the win. This was a fine match, heavily relying on teasing the same moves across the course of the contest. It was outshined technically by multiple matches, however it's clearly positioned as a main event due to the result. For the first time ever, an NXT superstar is TNA champ. Hendry was heavily protecting us, but NXT and TNA will likely need to tread carefully with this story, not to lose focus on the credibility of both brands. Trick can be a great champion, as the invading WWE style that TNA talent must find a way to overcome. Whether it's Hendry that gets the title back or Santana that saves the goal, the right spotlight could elevate both brands. It's a difficult story to tell, and it'll be intriguing to see how it goes. But yeah, very intrigued by this as an in-ring point of view. And yeah, where it all goes. I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. Interesting. And overall, Battleground gets a 6 out of 10 from me. I thought, yeah, this on the whole was a really solid pay-per-view. A few matches that really stood out, and of course, lots of talking points coming out of the show, including Joe Hendry losing the TNA title to Trick Williams. Like I say, it's going to be very interesting to see where that all goes next. So yeah, on the whole, I thought this was really good, and yeah, gets a 6 out of 10 from me. That's it for this video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe, follow us on our socials, link in the description below for daily wrestling news, meme and content. Subscribe to our other channels on screen right now, that'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace out.